Hi, my name is Sky, and I have an idea for the D&D Artificer, or it's more like an observation about the Unearthed Arcana and the revelation of the Artificer class and the different specialties it gets. In particular, so I recognize that with the Artificer, you're basically looking at a skilled craftsman, someone who even gets to the point of getting involved in construction. Because that's just like the nature of crafts. If you learn enough of like, how do I construct things, how do I make things, and if you have this, incredible intelligence and desire, to learn new things, that's just what's going to happen. You're just going to keep learning new skills, if you have the option to. The So I got an idea of like, so how does an artificer fit into society? What role could they, fill? And so when you see the items that they could create at level 2, level 5, 10, 15, 20, what I take from that is this guy can make this thing because he basically has a workshop with him, or at least he has a traveling workshop with him to help him create the product that he says he can make. And so if that product breaks, he has the materials on hand to fix it or make a new one. So that works for level 2, level 5. Then at level 6, that's where the interesting thing starts changing, because the mechanical servant basically allows to get back to construction. So the way I see construction going is it's going to get to the point where every construction worker will have a sort of mechanical assistant to help them. So today you have an apprentice, that helps the journeyman. That the apprentice goes, grabs material, will, take a pipe to get it bent, sort of thing. Uh, help hold a ladder, help do different things like that. So if you have a skilled craftsman who is able to have their sort of right hand man robot who multi gadget toolbox on itself, and oh, I need the plans, and bam, it just automatically presents the plans for you. And like, I need a ladder, like an arm extends and there's a ladder, that sort of thing. It has an arm that's a chainsaw, another arm for digging trenches, an arm for grabbing, sort of like thick, beams or something like that. So, and that way, for combat, you have a little flamethrower thing. You have this saw, it can shoot people up, or you grab a post and you're able to swing it around and knock people down. So when an artificer gets to level 6, they're able to start making a mechanical assistant. In my opinion, that gives the artificer, that helps them double their time, have more free time, have more energy. They're able to do more things in a day. So their output increases, their income increases, and they will invariably start spending the money. Like, they're going to save the money and spend the money to add skills to their repertoire. So they're going to learn, if it's an arms, gunslinger, smithing, possibly woodworking, possibly tinkering. Now you can add weaving. You can add gem cutting, or jeweler, or glass blowing. So starting at level 6, start adding a skill and you go with the more rudimentary. This is like a skill that will work, or that you're going to be using a lot of. So weaving becomes very popular with the different clothing items that they're giving out. Smithing is what you can use to make the rings. Glass blowing and jewelers tools. Those are what those will help you with growing, or making glass for lenses, and the jeweler's tools will help with that as well. Cutting gems and stuff like that. And I'm even going so far as to say that the alchemists get to the point where they can create solutions and grow crystals inside of those. Those crystals allow you to do whatever magical properties. So that's where be able to explode something or whatever else. So, anyways, like I said, level 6 start getting skills, and so my example would be the first gunsmith knows thieves' tools, smith tool, carpenter tool, wood carver. Then they get weaver, tinker, leatherworker, jeweler, cobbler, mason, potter, glassblower, alchemy, herbalism, poisoner, painter, calligraphy, cartography, cooking. And if the character class is a rock gnome, they already get tinkering. You can add the 20th skill would be brewer's tools, or brewer kit, something like that. So, and I apologize for jumping all over the place with this, but level 5, I think that the artificers would start coming together to work in workshops together. At about 6 people. So, because at 6 people, they can more or less produce all of the items that you see listed in the Unearthed Arcana. And so, going by level, it makes sense. Like, okay, so each of these guys has their specialty thing that they construct. Because they have all the different skills, they come, bring them together. That takes care of overhead. They're able to mass produce, or turn a profit. So now they're making a lot more money. Then you get to the point of, so level 5, if they start coming together in a 6-man workshop, level 6, now they get, so level 6, tinkering for the mechanical servants, they need a garage, they need a place to work on. So, anyway, to get back to that. Smith's tools mean that they would need a 10 by 10 square space to basically hold majority of the items they need for a smithy. That you have a forge, which will take up about a 10 by 10 space, but then all the other spaces connected to that, where you'd have the different tools, workbenches, supplies that blacksmiths would need. And what I did in a paper calculation was said, okay, these many guys know smithing tools, so keep adding with each level. So level 5, level 10, level 15. Because at level 10, 15, and 20, it's reasonable to assume that, okay, these guys are going to have apprentices working for them. They're also going to hire lower level artificers to help assist in running the day-to-day operations of the workshop, as well as manufacturing these items that they can get. So you can imagine the other thing is that at level 10, it makes sense that there would be 8 people in the artificer workshop as like the owners, because that just gets all the different sort of extra skills. Because I'm thinking stuff like cartography is related to magic, in particular the pocket dimensions. Because you need these sort of cartography instruments to understand, okay, where is the location of this pocket dimension that I'm sort of creating the wormhole to. And the calligraphy is for writing spells. So, having the 8 owners means that everything is in-house. They can produce all the items they need in-house. They can harvest their rich materials, refine it, and assemble and manufacture, all under the same roof. And at level 20, I'm of the opinion the owners are retired or semi-retired, so maybe one of them comes in, one day, and they take turns. So each day another owner will come in just for whatever reason, just make sure maintain their presence or whatever skills or project they're working on, and that's just like to oversee. They're the boss. They're just making sure everything's running right. They hire about 8 level 20 artificers to make the level 20 items. They hire 8 level 15s, 8 level 10s, 8 level 5s, 8 level 2s. And that way they have a massive amount of manpower. They can afford it. They can create all the different items. Why do they have all the different items? Since the level 6 are making vehicles or mechanical servants, it stands to reason in my mind, because we know from technology purposes, wheels are easier than legs when it comes to creating something and something that will last. You can try creating leg powered devices, but it's complicated. It's so challenging. That's why even just barely today we can get the bipedal robots walking around. So medieval typesetting, no computers, wheels. And in my opinion, what the artificers are doing in their workshop is they're creating basically forklifts that can do anything. So giant spider, the rhinoceros, which is a 21 strength, or a brown bear, which has a 30 climbing speed. The giant spider has a 30 climbing speed, but 6 legs, and so conceivably that is the 4 legs and 2 arms, which can do whatever. And for the web and the other things, like, well, that's just a attach a magic rope to it so it goes up 60 feet, ties a knot, rises up on its own. Go figure. But in my opinion, it's not too hard to say, okay, well, they can create motorcycles, essentially. A motorized vehicle, 2 wheels, person can ride it, similar to a horse. There you go. And with the way, like streets would be, like, yeah, it makes sense. Conceivably, you could get up to the point of having a 4-wheel vehicle. And I think that you can reskin the rhinoceros in terms of size and strength to turn into a prototype bus. So that's at level 6 to 10. Level 15, the items that artificers can create are air. Being able to fly comes into play. So in my opinion, that's when the level 15 and higher artificers, they go from building motorized vehicles to aircraft. So you could have a garage like you see in today, and it would operate, sound, everything like today's modern garage, like a Pep Boys auto, whatever auto repair shop you would have need of. Because that's how these guys are making money. They sell this expensive device to a certain elite, cadre of people or businesses, and it's the repair and maintenance that they charge. So that's how they make their money. And Jay Leno talked about why did New York City people go from horses to cars? Well, it's to save the lives of horses, and it's also the amount of mess that's generated. So it's a safety, health concern to get rid of the animals from your city. So the city leaders would recognize this. They would say, hey, you guys are this impressive, intelligent group of guys who are doing this stuff. I'm going to mandate that, basically people start getting rid of horses and start going motorized vehicles, and work it from there. So I guess back to, at level 20, the amount of expertise and knowledge that the artificers have, years of experience, training, and what they were doing with metal. You get enough intelligent people together, they have this experience, they've traveled enough, they've just learned enough, they're going to get to the point where they understand crucible iron smelting techniques, and they'll get to foundry level techniques. So doing the calculations, 10 by 10 for each guy doing smithing, add it up. And I even did some rough designs, and it seems to work. You can have a whatever 10 by 10 sort of space for the melting pot, the bowl that it sits in, the swinging arms to feed it, and then the pig iron troughs that all the iron flow into, and you're able to make iron so much easier. So now your city has a foundry and is producing goods like crazy. And you're able to manufacture just so many different things because of the pig iron. So now let's get back to one other thing about the artificer: gun ranges. So the gunsmith. I I'm thinking at level 10, maybe level 5, but more like level 10, they can think about constructing a underground fire range, rifle range. So about 120 feet, which means that it would basically, I'm also thinking like it would be about 10 feet below. So 2 floors down, dig out a long, hallway or long, space, 120 feet long, and yeah, you're able to fire away. Because it's underground, the sound is muffled. Yeah, and but once they get up to level 15 and especially level 20, they would extend the the firing range, gun range out to 300 feet. So, because that's just like some of the weaponry they're testing, and even by that point, for the gunsmith, level 17, to get just like a 10-foot radius explosion, like yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, they need something kind of buried deep to practice on that if they're going to be shooting outside. But that would be the happening place to go as well. Like people would want to go there and see people firing off all sorts of wacky weaponry that they're practicing. And that's also the test place for the bracers of archery that the artificers can create. So I hope that it's making sense what I'm saying. That the nature, like at level 15, these guys are making aircraft. They're not in a garage anymore. They're in an aircraft hangar. So bigger, broader, and different aerodynamics. Like all sorts of different things that they're dealing with. But yeah, it's if you walked into a city that was decent enough, advanced enough, and had an artificer workshop, and the players were like, okay, well, like how advanced is this place? And you're like, well, you see a huge building with a billowing tower of smoke coming out of it, and everybody says that's the foundry, and that's because metal. You're able to get that pig iron, work with it easily, and yeah, it will produce a lot of goods real fast. The level 20 artificers, they run their own restaurants, and the gnomes even would run a brewers, or a brewery. So, what else? What else? But yeah, you'd have a crystal room. You'd have a poison powder room. You would have a vault to hold some of these items, because like some of these things, like if a child got their hands on and climbing up, climbing up the side of the building, and but so yeah, that's so many different ideas, and that's why I'm making this video. Is I would like the world's input. So in my opinion, you're going to see motorized vehicles of some sort in these D&D societies if you have Artificer allowed. Why it won't get to modern technologies because patent office. You don't see the patent office as a thing in these fantasy, medieval, whatever settings. Why did the United States change things so much differently? I think it's because we had a patent office. So it's something to think about. Thanks.